What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the American South Fishing Podcast. I'm here with Tim and Braden Martin with BM Custom Baits. Guys, it's been a pleasure getting to work with you so far. Obviously, we're partnering, which is really cool. If everybody's been watching, they sent me some. I don't want to even just say some. They sent me a bunch of their baits for me to check out and show off, and we're going to kind of look. They're going to show us some and talk about them tonight. But guys, it's really nice to meet you guys.
You too.
Same to you.
So first off, you guys make some excellent baits, and that's part of what I want everybody to see tonight. But I really want to talk about, like for example, your chatterbaits, and y'all have colors that are unique to probably the ones that you're going to see from most places. But guys, first off, just tell a little bit of the backstory of what got you started on doing all this.
I mean, for me, going through like middle school and high school, I played baseball, I played football, and it just got to the point where I went into high school and I heard there was a fishing team there. So I loved fishing at the time, but I was also playing baseball. Well, baseball wasn't really kicking well for me at the time. So I was like, okay, I made a decision. I told Dad, I was like, hey, I want to quit baseball. So I came home. I didn't really want to say anything at the point in time because I knew I was locked in with baseball at the time. But I knew fishing was something that I knew I probably could feel better about realistically. So I came home and told him, and it was a different decision, but I feel like in my point of view, it was probably my best choice I made realistically.
Yeah.
Um,
And Tim, yeah, tell it from your point of view, man.
Yeah, pretty much he talked about that. So he said that he wanted to do the high school fishing at the time. It had only down here at our local school, it had only been going on 1 year. And so I told him, I said, that's what you want to do. I said, you're old enough now. You can go tell the coach yourself. Dad's not going to do it for you. And then, we went from there. So his ninth grade year, we basically just to spend some more time together, other than fishing and football, of course, and hunting. We thought, well, we'll buy a couple molds and we'll sit down in the garage and during the week and we'll pour some bait. So we got a shaky head mold and a jig mold. He liked throwing a jig. We throw a shaky head a lot on our home lake. And it started from there. And as you can kind of see behind us, I don't know, we've got
I think we've got closer to like nearly 40 molds now
altogether. So it just went from there. We started out building stuff that we fished with, and then we hey, buy this mold, buy that mold, buy this mold, and then I don't know, about 5-6 years ago, he got an airbrush for Christmas and started tinkering with paint and crankbaits. And the first couple he did, they were good. They weren't great, but they were good. But it kind of lit a fire up under him. He's kind of a perfectionist of some, a lot of things. He doesn't like his stuff to be not up to standard. So he's worked and tried a lot of different stuff, and he's got pretty good at it. And really about the only thing right now that we're not doing is pouring soft plastics. We hadn't got into that. That's a whole nother realm. About a year ago, we started tying some crappie jigs. So we've actually on our TikTok page, there's some videos from last year's crappie, and all the jigs that we caught crappie on were stuff that we tied ourselves. So that's kind of how we got started. He fished 4 years in high school. went to college and fished a year.
Good. I mean, pretty much a year worth because
COVID hit his freshman year in college, and it just messed, everything up. We're still dealing with the consequences of COVID, in this country. So, kind of messed everything up. So,
man, it seems like though, because of COVID, and we won't spend too much time on this, but it seems like because of COVID though, like fishing changed forever, but for the good, kind of. But I think like that's where you started getting a lot of these younger anglers started getting interested. I talked about this before, but I feel like that's where they started being home with their dads or with their family and started taking an interest. And I think that's why you're seeing, a lot of these guys who are so good with forward-facing sonars because they got to spend so much time with it.
Oh, absolutely. School's out. What better thing to do than go fishing?
I've seen a lot of people say that they were on their class, like, because, it was live or whatever. Well, they were logged in on their phone on the boat fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, shoot, y'all, sounds like they had a pretty gravy, to be honest with you.
Oh, absolutely.
No kidding.
But anyhow, nonetheless, so y'all got all kinds of molds. You decided to do this, and one thing that I really respected about what seemed like the beginning of all this is Tim said that it became a way for you guys to spend time together and kind of do something together on top of just the fishing was for y'all to be able to make these baits together. So a business was born out of that, and y'all have grown to so many different molds and things. So, man, if you would you could showcase, start wherever you want to start, and let's just talk about it.
I guess we'll start with the one that you were really excited about was was the Morning Dawn chatterbait thing.
Yes.
That was one of the ones I know you really enjoyed. The Morning Dawn is a color that has, I would say, popped off here just all around the country, realistically, the past couple of years, ever since, I would say, it was when Lee Livesey was throwing it. I think it was out in Texas, and it was just a bright pink chatterbait, and it's like all of a sudden it was just very popular, and it's come pretty popular down here, especially on Smith and in these Highland Reservoir lakes, and all these new kids coming up, that seems to be a very sought after color and stuff. So this color right here is definitely going to be one that we have tied on come this spring.
Yeah. So have y'all gotten to fish that color much? And have you had any success on it? You haven't fished
not yet. I know me and you talked. We actually did our first fishing expo back in January here locally in Coleman. It was the biggest fishing expo that the state's ever had. So really from about late September, October,
we ain't been on the water.
We've not done a lot of fishing. We were getting ready for that show. We built so much for that show, from drop shot weights to Nico weights to shaky heads to
Ned heads.
Yeah, Ned heads.
Swim bait heads, little B forward facing heads. Basically anything really terminal wise, we pretty much had.
Plus all the crankbaits and glide baits, which he's got some glides laid out here on the deck of the boat, and we're going to show those in a little bit. But we spent all our time because we didn't know what to expect from this expo. We wanted to kind of be prepared in all aspects. So we hadn't got to spend a lot of time on the water. The weather here lately, which I figure y'all got some of that here a couple weeks ago, has been pretty brutal. This week here, it's going to be about 70 all week, and pretty much next week. And we're fixing to put in some time on the water, and we're getting some rain, so we're going to get some dirty water. But we've got an answer to that in a chatterbait also. So, and we can do about any color.
Yeah.
But those two colors, the fire crawl and the morning dawn, we did for a special at the show. So we took swim jigs in both colors, chatterbaits in both colors, and spinnerbaits in both colors. That way, on our home lake here, you may be in one section of the lake and have dirty water and move 4 or 5 miles down the lake and be clean water.
Right.
So you've got to kind of be prepared for, every water condition that you can think of.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is on our lakes here. You can go down to the southern part of the lakes, or the deeper parts closer to the dam, and you can find clear water just about wherever you want to find it. But where you find the run-ins and stuff after a good rain is going to be muddy. But so I'm sure after the Major League Fishing tournament on Gunnersville, that fire crawl color was probably very popular. That's one of the colors they were fishing pretty heavily, especially a chatterbait.
Yeah. Which the thing, the fire crawl's kind of been around, like, especially here with, Gunnersville this time of the year. If anybody watched the Elite Series this past weekend,
a red trap.
You seen a lot of red. So a lot of vendors at the show had fire crawl. So, it was kind of a luck of the draw, who got to what booth first, and hey, I like this, and again, who had the best prices. So, but like I said, those are two colors we've got laid out, but we do them in shad colors. We do them about every color. We can do a swim jig in. We could do a chatterbait. So we throw some green pump, black and blue. He actually throws some black and blue at night, especially early in the season at night. Mayish, early June.
Yeah, I mean around like late May, early June, when that water temp still ain't really got up too high yet. Some of them fish are still hanging around shallow at night. I'll catch a lot of good fish up shallow.
Yeah, well, man, that's obviously the biggest thing about y'all's chatterbaits or bladed jigs is that y'all have the direct-to-head connection, which is what everybody's looking for. Obviously, the patent went up I think it was this last year.
Yes.
So seeing a lot more of that. But the other part of that is that, and I've bragged a bunch on y'all for this, is that your bait is cheaper than, and I don't know how it compares to other small bait companies, but I know for a fact if you can save $3 to $5 per chatterbait, then that's a good chunk of money.
It makes a difference.
Yeah, we work on how we are making that connection to the head. Our head is, if you look at our bait, our head is a little different than, Product Z. I won't mention any names, but Product Z. But there is a mold that we can get that the head is very, very similar. If somebody really wanted that, we like this head design. The blades are pretty much identical. We use the decoy egg snaps on our blades, pretty much the same as Product Z does. So our hook's a little different. They use a little different hook, but I mean, for $10 to $12 a piece compared to 16 to, depending on where you buy them, 16 to $18 a piece. And like I said, we're not going to sell anything that we're not going to throw, and that we have confidence, that we don't have confidence in.
Right. So obviously you've got those. You've got the same color, by the way, in a spinnerbait. And guys, like he said, he talks about how they pride themselves in making quality baits. Listen to the extent that they've gone on these spinnerbaits to make sure that when you throw it, that is something you're going to love.
our take on the spinnerbait, it depends. Like our half ounce has got a .045 wire, and our 3/8 has got a .35 wire. So it's going to be a little bit thinner of a wire for 3/8, but it is also a lighter spinnerbait. Our thought behind the spinnerbait is kind of like going back to any other higher brand spinnerbait you go and buy. You want the best quality you can get out of a spinnerbait, realistically. Then it comes down to your split rings, your swivel, and your blades, realistically. And we decided if we're going to put blades on these spinnerbaits, we're going to go with the Hildebrandt blades because they're very high quality blades. The split rings that come on these barrel swivels are very light wire and they tend to bend out a lot easier. So when we got them in, I took all the old split rings off and put new heavier gauge split ring on there, so you don't have to worry about losing a blade or it bending out on you. So that's something that we took upon ourselves. Yeah, it costs a little bit more, but it's something that's going to be more durable for people and us in general.
And we learned that the hard way. Throwing our nighttime blades, we used the same swivels on our nighttime spinner baits, and we were having a few little miscues, because the spotted bass we have down here on Smith, they get pretty aggressive and they'll wreck a spinner bait. And then when you lose a blade because of a split ring malfunction, that's about $1 and a quarter for a blade. So we got to fix this. So we just started swapping them out and going to heavier duty split ring. And since then, we've not had any problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I was talking to Danny Pruitt yesterday, actually, over at Fish North Georgia. You guys have got blue. Do y'all have blueback herring in y'all's lakes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So y'all have monster spots down there. Which are a ton of fun to catch. So another color you have, and I don't know if you have this out, but y'all sent me this one. It's got kind of a natural shad color.
That's going to be the ghost shad, ghost shad, or the gray ghost is what I call that one.
Yeah.
I didn't bring that one out here. I do have our electric shad though.
Yeah. Yeah, so nice, natural, more natural shad colors, which are in Highland reservoirs. Sometimes you have to be, as close to natural colors as possible to get those bites. So you'll have a little bit of everything for everyone as far as colors go. And like you said, y'all are willing to do anything. They've got the big Colorado blades. They've got different colors in the Colorado blades, not just in the skirts themselves, but in the blades. But I really want you to get a chance to showcase for a little bit too your crankbaits, because they're like a work of art in my opinion.
Man, I tell you what, this has been a absolute freaking journey painting wise. I mean, from the start to now, going through experimenting with different paints and stuff like that, and trying to learn how to layer your paint that way stuff looks like it should. I've watched I don't know how many countless YouTube videos of different guys painting and showing different things, and it's just taking a lot of sitting there for hours on end, just constantly doing it. And I have a big old basket full of just blanks I've painted that I've messed up. I just ain't went back and went through them or nothing. I mess up and I don't feel like fixing it. I'll just trash it and start again. And I don't know how many blanks I have, but it's been definitely a big journey. I started this year getting a lot of newer blanks I've not gotten in the past. I started out with just a couple of square bills and some Sammy blanks and some other type stuff. And like this one right here, this is going to be the Mega Square.
With Tyler, I think we sent you one in that Ghost Crawl.
Yep.
This is the same blank, but just a different color.
Yeah. Oh, I believe. No,
that's just a regular 2.5.
Yeah. Oh, here it is. Yeah, here it is right here.
That's
more
the
of a
same
natural
blank,
crawl
but
color.
this is a red crawl.
Yeah, this is awesome, man. This is kind of like that almost like that almost like a natural wiggle wart color that they have that works really good here after the crawl kind of finished molting. I'm excited about throwing that.
Yeah, the one that you had a minute ago, which is the regular 2.5 in this color, the hot crawl.
Yes.
Now that one is a pattern that I did. I don't have many of them, but that pattern right there has orange and 3 different shades of red in it. But you're not going to be able to hardly tell that. But I mean, this pattern has took a long time to do. There's so much depth in this color that I'm not painting anymore, but I do know what I need to do to achieve that color again. But there's so many different things you can do with colors to achieve depth and more realistic colors.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And here's the thing too. Like for me, for first off, I want to announce that they've been gracious enough to send me a ton of baits, guys, a ton. And I'm gonna go use some of these so I can give a review on how they fish. But I want to let everybody know that I am giving some of these away. And if you have not entered the giveaway on TikTok, you need to go enter it because it is live right now. You got to go. The video, it's I've got a big, like a announcement on it. You can see it. It says TikTok giveaway. Hey, go follow my TikTok page. It's american.south.ou. Go there, like and follow and leave a comment on what your favorite bait is. Okay. And you can win some of this stuff because you guys got to have an opportunity to see the quality of baits they're making, guys. You have to, and hopefully that'll lead to y'all doing some business with them. Because man, these are some awesome guys, and they deserve it. But anyhow, nonetheless, having said that, man, I'm almost scared to throw some of these because they're so pretty. I don't even want to risk losing them.
I don't know how many times we got told that at the show this year.
Yeah.
People would come up to the booth. We had a 8-foot table display of I don't know how many baits on stands and like our glide baits, we had them on these little rotating displays, and the lighting in that place we were at was nearly perfect. And people would walk up and like, those are too pretty to fish with. And was like, well, you want us to paint an ugly bait?
Right.
But we have had some requests that we're trying to work through exactly how we're going to do it from some guys that want some matte finish baits, whether it be a top water walking bait or some matte finish crankbait. So we're fixing to start working through that to find a product. We have found several products, but we want a product that is going to be as durable as well as looking good, but as durable as the product he uses right now to clear the baits that he currently does. That's what makes them look so good. So we just hadn't narrowed it down quite to the exact product that we want to use.
Yeah, man. Well, and I know that y'all figure it out because y'all like you said, y'all have over 40 different. But y'all figured everything out this far, so I have no problem believing that y'all will do it again. But here's my thing, guys. You will go do business with people. You'll go face to face with somebody for things like car insurance and things like that, and you'll go spend all your money at a place like Bass Pro and Walmart on baits. But why not have bait guys? Why not have a relationship with the guys that you're buying your baits from? Somebody that will know your name and knows the things you like. Guys, I'm telling you, I think that it's a mistake, and y'all are probably getting to see this from the other perspective, but y'all are knowing what I'm saying because I'm sure y'all have people y'all built relationships with that y'all sell baits to, and that's just as important to you guys as it is to them because yeah, they're buying something from you, but I'm sure you guys become friends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So, go ahead.
we actually he's finishing up. In case you got a couple more to do. He had several orders from the show. He had to do some custom paint jobs on. Some of that is on our TikTok that we put the other night. Some old Cedar Poe 300 series crankbaits that an older gentleman, they don't make that color anymore. So he actually went and bought some there from another person that was carrying a lot of old baits, but they weren't the right color. So he went and bought them, brought them down, dropped them off. Some 4-inch spooks, some DTs he's custom painting, that, the DT10 doesn't do that particular color. It was a bandit color, but the guy wanted it in a DT10. So he said, "Hey, can you do that?" And sure enough, he matched it up, and he's fixing to get them shipped out to him up to Tennessee. But yeah, it's, we've made some good friends. We've actually got some baits in one of our local stores now. So we had some surplus after the show, so we were able to go, and actually we've got about 100. We've got to get finished up this week, about 50 swim jigs and about 50 chatterbaits in this morning dawn color that's going to that store. So we got to get them finished up this week and get them delivered.
Yeah, and guys, here's another thing, and I'm going to brag on them. I know that y'all would never ask me to do this, but I'm going to do it. I had a high school bass fishing coach reach out, and he just commented on one of my posts for the giveaway, and he said that he had a couple boys that really appreciate these baits. So I got the guy's information, ended up calling him. Well, we talked to him, and come to find out, he's just a dad that's trying to support his son and his friend in a high school fishing team, and it's expensive. And he said they're from a small town, and they're competing from some guys from private schools who have a lot of money and into their setups and stuff. They were lucky enough to just get donated forward-facing sonar, so they're just now kind of figuring that out. But nonetheless, we were able to. I was able to get in touch with Tim and Brandon, and we were Braden, I'm sorry, and talking to them, and they said, "Heck yeah, we'll do something." So, guys, they were willing. People they don't even know. They got in touch with them. They're willing to help them. They're willing to help some high school anglers to be as successful as possible, to not have to go into some of these tournaments thinking, "Man, I don't have that," And so that's the kind of people that you're doing business with whenever you do business with these guys. Is they're willing to help people. They want to see the fishing community grow, and you can't ask much more. And when I called and asked for them to do it, they were just immediately, "We'll do something. No worries." So I want to say, first of all, I really appreciate that. And I'm sure that they appreciate it way more than I do. And I know y'all got to have a conversation with Jeff, I think last night. Yeah. And he's as good a guy as you can find. So I'm glad that y'all were able to do something for those guys.
Yeah, we're gonna try to work with them. He explained the situation, and I can put myself in that situation, because when he started in high school, the fishing team was only a year old, so we were kind of building it from the ground up, and it's very, very expensive. I try to tell people that baseball's expensive, softball's expensive, cheerleading's expensive, but high school fishing is very, very expensive. If anybody has not been to a high school fishing event, it doesn't look much different than a professional event. You're sitting out on the water with anywhere from 100 to, we've had over 300 high school boats in the tournament here in Alabama.
Wow.
You look across the water and you just start kind of figuring up, running through your head, how much money is sitting on that water, how much money is sitting up in that parking lot. And I mean, it'd be in the millions of dollars.
Right.
Some have more than others. That's going to be, everything in life. But just because you've got $100,000 boat doesn't mean you're automatically going to win the tournament. I've seen $100,000 boats come in with zero. So, I mean, and I did. I got to talk to Jeff, and I told him, I said, hey, we'll see what we can do to help you out. They're just getting started, so we're going to try to work with them some, and then he's going to help us out with some logos and some showing some sponsor stuff, and
Yeah.
So it's going to be pretty good. We can't do it for everybody, but
no,
we
obviously.
try to help out when we can.
No, I hope that's not what came from this. Is everybody's gonna be reaching out and saying, "Hey, y'all wanna help us out?" But the point I was trying to make was, guys, like you want to do business with people that are willing to take care of people like that. And now here's the deal: those guys are going to tell everybody they know about you guys for that, and so that's only going to help you guys. And so I'm that's what I told him. He keeps thanking me. I'm like, man, look, all I did was make some phone calls. I said, but the guys that are sending you stuff, those are the ones that you need to be thanking, because I didn't do anything that was very difficult. But nonetheless, one more thing that I want to talk about before we move on to something else is your jigs, because we had a conversation about why y'all make your jigs the way that you make them, and I wanted to talk about that.
Oh man, I would say I really mainly got fishing a jig. It really hit me back when Jordan Lee won the Classic on Conroe when he was still with Strike King. He was throwing what everybody knows now as J. Lee Combat Jig, which I don't know if they quite make them anymore, but ever since he won, which he's local from here, so he's not too far from here, which I ended up going to get some sometime, and I still have a couple with me, but I knew that I figured out it was living rubber, so I started throwing them, and I was still in high school at the time, and I realized I was getting a little bit more better quality bites and a few more bites. And I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. And knowing that it was living rubber, I was like, okay, something's clicking here. So I finally was able to find some living rubber. I started making my own. Like the color that you love the most is the PB&J, which that's by far my favorite, especially for down here.
Right.
And ever since then, I don't know, there may not be a lot of people that know the difference between silicone and living rubber. Which I know a lot of probably old timers used to use the old school rubber, but the living rubber now versus silicone, when it hits the bottom, the silicone just likes to lay there and lay flat. But when that rubber hits, it flares. Like it'll stand straight up, and if you got any current or anything, that rubber will move with that water no matter what. It don't take much movement to make that skirt move.
So basically, and I think you had said something in your video, Tyler, that you got tough fishing conditions, that little bit of difference, may trigger that bite. A lot of times with these jigs, you can actually what we call dead stick them, and you'll get a bite and that bait not even moving, because of the way that the skirt functions. The PB&J is a great color, especially on our lake. Black and blue, green pumpkin. We do multiple colors in those, and we can also do silicone. We don't do really any, like we've got a couple different football heads. We've got the standard football head. We've got a stand-up football head. We have a brush jig. We have a compact jig.
Ball head.
And I think you may have some of the compact jigs we had sent you with no skirts on there.
Yes.
A ball head during the wintertime and cold weather, we throw a lot of the ball heads.
Ball head and compact.
A little smaller profile, but majority of our standard jigs we do in a 3/8 and a half ounce, and 99% of them are rubber.
I mean, yeah, I'll go up to like a 3/4 ounce or maybe even a 1 ounce. If I go to Garnersville during the summertime and go hit some ledges, I may pour up some 3/4 or 1 ounce, especially if the current's rolling up there. I may tie up one, but the only thing with living rubber, you are kind of more limited with your color variations because they don't make that color variation like you would do with silicone. But I mean, you can mix rubber and silicone. You could. That's not something you can't do. But a lot of people love silicone because you have that color variation. But for me, realistically, I don't think sometimes it may matter, but overall, I think your simple colors are just as good, realistically.
Yeah, well, and man, I really think at the end of the day, a jig, I mean, the colors matter a little bit, but I think the presentation always matters more. And here's the deal: when you're throwing a jig, sometimes you're already throwing it because the bite's tough. Like that's one of the first reasons you're throwing it. The bite's tough. They're holding tight to cover. You're flipping a jig, dragging a jig. They're on the bottom, you know. So if you've got that rubber skirt that's doing a little bit of work for you, and that living rubber, and dude, like you said, dead sticking. I mean, you know, when you dead stick a shaky head and you've got it sitting there and you're not dragging it, but you're just wiggling the end of your rod just a little bit to get that worm to move. You can do the same thing with that rubber jig, and it'll sit there and do the work for you. And so I think that's an awesome thing that you guys are doing. But one thing that these guys wanted to talk about is there's a Bassmaster event coming up on a lake that's close to them that they have fished, and they wanted to do basically a pick'em on that lake. So I'm going to let you guys start it off.
Well, I mean, if this is good with you, and and if you've got any viewers that want to throw into the comments who they think is going to win the Elite Series on Lake Martin this coming weekend, if somebody, I'll say this: if somebody wins or picks the winner, we'll pick something out. We'll get you to get in contact with them somehow, and we'll send them a bait.
That'll work.
We'll pick a random bait, send them to them. It may not be it won't be like the box you got, but they'll get something from us from picking the winner.
Yeah.
I think the tournament is going to be very interesting this weekend.
It is you come from Garnersville where they're not allowed to forward face, and you got a lot of these more old school guys that are excelling because a lot of these newer young guys, all they're used to scoping. Then you come in with Hank Cherry swimming a grub over the top of this grass and catching 27 pounds on the final day. That was a method nobody really seen coming, especially for Garnersville. A lot of people probably thought, okay, it's probably going to be one throwing a trap, a chatterbait, something like that. But nobody really expected to see swimming a grub.
Right.
So now to go into Lake Martin, that's got predominantly spots, and you've got a little bit of largemouth. There's going to be a player if somebody can find a largemouth and get on that bite, but the weights are not going to stack up as like Gunnersville did. I think if you have anywhere from 12 to 14 pounds a day, I think you're going to be up top.
Yeah, I agree with what Braden said. With BASS this year, they kind of split the format. Basically, half of the events will be forward facing, half will be non-forward facing. So, the setup Gunnersville was non-forward facing. Martin will be a forward facing. So you're going to have a lot of guys out there shaking them in looking down, forward facing, chasing the spots around.
I would say pick two.
Yeah. For the people that want to comment on this, and Tyler, I don't know if you can keep up with this once the event's over, and then get back with us, because you're gonna have people probably comment on TikTok. You're probably gonna have people commenting on YouTube. But I'd say for those people, I would pick one. I'm gonna throw two names out that I think is gonna do real well. Taku Ito, he is a fabulous forward-facing sonar person. He has done super well here on Smith Lake. I think he's going to be up there. And then I am going to pick. I'll let you pick one. Then I'll come back to one.
Mm-hmm. The reason I'm going to say this guy, because we got some rain coming here, and just as Lake Martin as I know it, and I'm going to go back to some of the old, I wouldn't say old school, but some of the guys are a little bit older, and I'm going to say this guy's name because it's the fact of, if there's a good bit of rain coming and you get water rushing in that lake and it muddies up, I feel like this, if he can find a pattern to do it, he could possibly win it if he can find the largemouth to do it. My pick's going to be Jason Christie, because the fact is, if that water gets dirty and Jason Christie can find the largemouth and put a spinnerbait in his hand, I feel like he could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and on those Highland reservoirs with the rain, if you can find you a good run in and some muddy water, you could tear them up.
And expecting this week, it's going to be 70, 75 degrees down there every day.
Fish are going to be moving.
So the water temperature should be coming up. So it'll get interesting. You have a pick, Tyler?
Man, with it being forward facing sonar, there's going to be some clear water. Guys are going to be able to go do that. I hate to pick two guys that I think are going to excel at that, but that's what I'm going to do. But my first pick is going to be, and this is a super safe pick, but nonetheless, is Trey McKinney. Man, I mean, with him being able to shake him in on, and here's the deal. We saw just how versatile he is last week to be able to do what he did without. But I think he's going to get a chance to really shine this weekend.
You got
all right. My second one, I'm kind of torn between a forward facer and an old school, because I think the jerkbait bite is going to come into play this weekend.
Yes.
And our winner of the Gunnersville tournament, Hank Cherry, is a very good jerkbait fisherman. But I just don't know if that is going to be able to keep up with the forward facers this weekend. I think if somebody can find the largemouth and put 5 largemouth a day on the scales, that they can win this tournament. But being like our home lake, that's going to be hard to do for 4 days in a row. So I'm going to stick with the forward facing, and I'm on my second pick. I'm going to take Easton Fothergill. Easton's hard to beat. He's in that group with Trey McKinney. He's when it comes to shaking a minnow. So I'm going to take Taku and Easton.
That sounds good.
I'm torn between two guys. I love them both very much. Been fortunate to meet both of them, really. One's a little bit older and one's younger. But the way this guy has come up, I fished against him a few nights at our home lake. I've talked to him a bunch, met him, and he's brand new in Elite Series this year. Very local to us here. I'm gonna go with Fisher Nye. Fisher, he is a absolute hammer around here. I'm not gonna lie. He's a killer on Gunnersville. I can tell you that. He hit a rough one out there this past week, but he's an absolute hammer, and he knows how to forward face. I can tell you without a doubt. And he's one to look out for, especially in these forward facing, because he can find stuff that a lot of people will probably overlook. And he has one of the biggest gut instincts that I've ever seen, especially on some just random things. And his dad will actually admit to that a lot of times. He'll just be riding down the lake and he'll just have a gut instinct to go over here and they'll end up catching a 4 or 5 pounder. I mean, Fisher is going to be, I feel like he could really do some damage if he can find something special.
Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of good about him. I had a guy on a couple of weeks who's fished against him, and he definitely, like you said, would not count him out. Y'all said that this lake is it's got a good smallmouth population.
No,
It's got spots and largemouth.
Okay,
it's predominantly a spotted bass lake.
okay. I'm like I said, I still think I'm going to go with this guy. I'm going to go with I don't know how his last name is very hard to say, so Jay Shucuret.
Jay Security.
Yeah, Jay Security.
Yeah, I'm going with him, man. He's a stud, but he is definitely one of those guys that on forward facing can do some work. And man, this is the time of year. I mean, I know that water's going to be warming up, but it's still early, and they're going to be able to, especially on a Highland reservoir, they're going to be able to go out and find those suspenders and do some work, especially with the spotted bass. I know that they're going to be that's going to be a huge bite for numbers, and I just think that he's one of those guys that is going to be able to get it done.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that there can be several different techniques, even in the forward facing, come into play. A jerk bait. You know, Trey McKinney, I've watched him throw a jerk bait a lot using forward facing. Same way with Hank Cherry, Matt Robertson. But then you'll also have that throwing that what they call the minnow out there. So I think you'll have a lot of I think probably a Nico, potentially a wacky rig could play in certain situations. So I think it'll be very interesting. I know they are given some rain here, I think Saturday night into Sunday. So that could have a little bit of a change coming in for that final day, according to how much rain we have. You know, that lake, you know, you're not going to have to worry about, you know, a 20-mile-an-hour wind on that lake. You don't really have to worry about like places like Gunnersville or Pickwick or Wilson or any of the Tennessee River. So I think it's going to be a good event. I think it'll be a lot of fishing. It's just who can find those quality 2.5 to 3 pound spots compared to everybody else catching the 2-pounders. I think you'll have a lot of anglers stacked up every day in that 11 to 13 pound range.
Weight's going to be tight.
And our home lake is the same. You know, Braden was talking about Fisher. You take Fisher, Jordan Lee, he's local. J.C. Wiggins that fishes at MLF. His little brother Jordy that fishes MLF. Gerald Swindle.
Dustin Connell, Mark Daniels Jr.
I mean, on a Tuesday night or Friday night tournament or a Saturday tournament down here, any of those guys will be in those tournaments. We're backing in next to Jordan Lee fishing a Tuesday nighter. So we get to fish against a lot of good talent on our home lake.
Right. Man, and you know, another thing to talk about is like Saturday leading up to that rain, that with that front moving in, you're going to have some clouds. Saturday is going to fish like a dream. And then Sunday on a Highland reservoir the day after a big rain, it's tough. I mean, it's really tough.
It can be tough. Yeah. But the run-ins, our home lake is the same way. You can get certain times of year, especially if this is a warmer rain, and you get a lot of run-ins running. You can pull up to the right run-in and load the boat.
Yeah, if you can get those bait fish up at that run-in feeding, then 100%, man. that's one of the most fun bites you can ever have if you can get to a run in. I was at a lake here in northern Arkansas, and a guy pulled up right next to us, and there was a you couldn't see the creek where it was running in, but he knew that it was there, that little run in, and he set up there and he fished there for 30 minutes, and in 30 minutes he caught like 25 pounds and bounced back out of there, and it was insane. It wasn't we were just fun fishing, and this guy was on a guided trip. I bet those guys were tickled pink.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
So, but anyhow, gentlemen, well, it was a whole lot of fun, guys, getting to talk with you. Is there anything else you guys would like to talk about before we get off?
I was going to show real quick, and I got one other thing. I'll show this glide bait here in a second, but I know you're doing the giveaway. One of our goals that we've been trying to get to is if we get 250 followers on TikTok, we're going to end up doing a giveaway. So if anybody wants to be a part of anything, follow, try to get us to 250 followers, and we're going to end up doing a giveaway ourselves. It's something that's kind of a milestone for us. We're trying to just get bigger and bigger and bigger. We got a lot more content coming as soon as we can get back out on the water and try to go live a little bit more. But other than that, though, you haven't seen these really, but
Yeah,
this
man, I've heard a lot of good things. So the guy who just caught the Arkansas just started a lunker program like Texas has. And the first fish that got donated was this year. The guy who caught it was using forward facing sonar with a glide bait like that and just hammered. It was a 12 pound, 12.02 pound fish. I mean, a monster. But anyhow, go ahead.
Yeah, that one, this color that I just showed, this is a 7-inch version. That right there is just like a pearl white, more like a bonish color. Then this one, these are 7-inch slow sinks. But I've got some 5.5 inch. I'm starting to paint now. So these are something else that I do, but haven't shown them a whole ton, but they are something I do also.
Yeah, the 5, he actually painted one of the 5-inch ones last night. That I think is gonna be on, yes, especially on our lake with a spotted bass, and even with the largemouth. But that 5-inch one's gonna be, I think, the money this year.
Well, that's awesome, man. I hope that we can send some guys y'all's direction. But hey, guys, go check them out. Get them 250 followers so they can give some stuff away. Awesome guys to partner with, and hopefully you guys can have the pleasure of doing business with them. And gentlemen, I thank y'all for coming on and taking the time out, and then also everything that we've been able to do together to this point, and hopefully to all the cool things that we'll get to do together in the future. So for B&M Custom Baits, this is Tyler Callahan with the American South Fishing Podcast, and I hope y'all have a great week.
Enjoyed it.